Hey everybody, thanks for joining today as we're going to walk through the next step in Better Brewery Insights here. And I'm really excited for this one when it gets into how to action your data, because I think that's a gap that teams currently have, where maybe they kind of understand what's going on, or they're tracking a lot of data, but they have a hard time putting that into action. So that's what we're going to show next. So this is assuming you've already gone through kind of the alert phase where you know there's an issue. You've analyzed it a little bit, so you kind of know why it's happening. And now we're going to try to turn it into recommendations on what to do next. So that's the whole point of this phase, right? Decide what to do next. So what we're going to walk through an example of here in a second is understanding what the root cause is of an issue. Before you take a smart action, you have to know what's going on. And sometimes this is related to issues or even opportunities. It's really critical to know why something's happening. And then we're going to help identify some clear next steps and kind of set priorities to those. And then ultimately, we're looking to drive results and accountability, and we'll show how that happens too. And the whole idea is to turn some of these data insights that maybe in the past were just kind of interesting, but you weren't sure what to do with them, and turn those into direct action in the future. And what we're going to be able to do is use some AI capabilities, which are pretty cool, and a lot's happening in the world these days with AI capabilities, right? So this is going to be how we're going to start to use those with Central Coast Analytics. And the basic idea is we're going to be connecting a AI chat model called Claude to all of your same Tableau data that either Tableau Pulse or your dashboards is hitting. So it's all lined up on the same data. There's a lot of things we're going to be able to do once we have the AI capabilities hitting that data. One is you're going to be able to ask questions in clear language, right? I mean, a lot of times come up where you just need a quick answer to an ad hoc question that you have. And it's tough to maybe go back through spreadsheets or find some other answers to that. So one of the great capabilities of this, right, is just type in a question and you get a quick answer based on your data. In the demo that I'm going to show you today, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. So we're not going to get into this one as much. We're going to use more of a guided approach, but this is a capability that certainly exists. Then what we're going to show more of is getting guidance on next steps and what some trade-offs might be based on some different actions you might want to take. And then ultimately, we're looking to develop those smart actions, right? And when you're using this step, this is kind of the last one in our framework, right? First, we alerted, then we analyzed, and now we're taking action. So really, as we end this step, your team should be ready to solve this problem that you've identified with your data. Okay, cool. Let's go show an example. Okay, like I mentioned before, we've already kind of gone through that alert and analyze phase, right? So in that, I've identified that, oh, we have this customer that's been struggling a bit recently. So what I just told it to do is run what we're calling the customer health playbook. And that's going to be a guided approach to walk us through determining root cause and what actions we can take. So first of all, it's going to go ahead and give us some information on there. I'm not going to go through everything on here, but I'll kind of scroll through so you can see some of these really good insights that it's helping us understand a little bit more related to recent sales, what the product mix is. It's starting to pick up some observations as it's looking at the data. So right now it's going to ask us some clarifying questions. So is there anything else we know that the AI tool just looking at data doesn't, right? And I've written some of these down elsewhere, so you don't have to watch me type it out. So let me grab one of those. And all I'm doing is helping it understand this is a really seasonal location based on tourism, right? It already picked up some of that seasonality in its analysis. But I'm going to say because they're seasonal, I instead of comparing to the most recent period, I want you to compare it to last year. So, okay, it's doing that. And one great thing here is it's saying, okay, while we might assume without looking at all this data, oh, it's just a seasonal decline, no big deal, right? What it's saying is, oh, even though they are seasonal, they are down year over year. So that is a real decline, something we should look into a little bit more. Okay, so next it's going to say, what else do you might know about this situation that this thing doesn't know, that the AI tool doesn't know about? And I'm just going to copy this. The only thing I'm telling it is that we've had an unusually wet or bad weather this fall. And because this is a resort, they're probably not, enjoying the outdoor bar as much, consuming as much of our beer. So giving it that context here. And now what it's going to do based on the raw data that it's reading and then the additional information we're giving it, it's going to go through some of this root cause hypotheses a little bit more. And what this is pretty cool, and again, I'm not going to go through all this detail, but you can see it's quite a bit on here. It's going to kind of go through and say, okay, I think these things might be happening. Can you confirm or deny any of these? Um, and as I scroll down to the bottom here, you can see that that's what it's asking down here. So if you knew something really specific was going on, let's say you knew that they changed their food and beverage manager who has a really close alliance with another brewery, you can type that in, right? And then it's going to use that information to go through as it's determining next steps. But what I'm going to do on here is I'm going to just tell it, I think it's really primarily related to that weather. But I'm going to ask it, okay, I still want to recover this volume in the next few months. And also, we have this new holiday porter, which we think should be a really good fit because the colder weather is happening right now. So let's think how we might be able to use that. So you can see it's coming up with some proposed actions here. In this case, it knows this is with data through the middle of December. So it's saying, hey, we might be able to do kind of a year-end push around New Year's Eve. So you can see it's giving some quite a bit of information here, kind of even helping you think what a call might look like, right? If you're going to be pitching this, what some objections might be related to this, that'll help you think through. Not that your sales guy needs to, memorize these all exactly, but just helps them think about what some of these might look like ahead of them getting on the call. Um, you can see what some of the recovery estimates might look like, what success would look like. And we're kind of getting down to towards the end of it here. What it's going to do next, and what I'm going to ask it to do, is now we can actually create a task off of this. So I'm going to tell it, go ahead and create task. So what's great about this step is, at least I know in my life, right? Sometimes when you're analyzing information, you're coming up with some good potential actions, but then like you don't actually follow through with it. So what's great here is we can tell it, okay, I want you to now go through and actually create that step for me. And going to assign it to a person, right? And then it's going to be able to like send them reminders if something didn't happen. And then even better, we're going to be able to, when this step is taken, go back in and like note in there like what the results were from it. And then what our AI tool is going to be able to do in the future is it's going to be able to learn based on those results of these actions. And it's going to start to give us better, more precise actions in the future. Okay, you can see now it's created its two things. So it created a task, which I'll go to in a second. And then it also created this file that we can use, which is just a PDF, right? So you don't always have to be connected to Claude for this information. Now you have this PDF, and it also saved it in the task that we created. So something that you could download to your phone or take with you on your call. And it has some good tables here that you can show to whoever you're meeting based on what it saw in the data, right? I'll just scroll through there real quick so you can see what's going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that task. Okay, so here's our project management system, and you can see in this case, I didn't assign all the different fields, but you can see it's putting all that information in here, so this is nice and saved. At the bottom, your salesperson could enter in a little bit more information on how things went, and now it's going to both help them create new tasks in the future, and then also track how successful this one was. So pretty cool how it keeps all this stuff organized. And then in addition to that very detailed task, right, it basically comes up with a list of all the different tasks your team should be taking. So as you assign these to different people, they're able to really see what they're responsible for and stay accountable to making sure that these actions that they've developed using the AI guidance are followed through and then everything's moving in the right direction. So that's all pretty cool, right? Let's just kind of backtrack a second and see what we did. So first of all, this AI tool is connected to all the same data that's going through Tableau. So it's always going to match and tie out to whatever you have you're being alerted on through Tableau Pulse, and then also that you're seeing in your dashboards. You can ask any ad hoc questions you wanted based on all that data. That's certainly doable. And then, but in this demo that we looked at, it's kind of walking you through a guided problem solving exercise, right? Where first you're going to determine what the root cause is. You're going to identify what you think the best action to take is, and then it's going to document that action. So your team actually follows up on it, and you can track what the results are over time. And then ultimately, the tool is going to continue to learn and get smarter as it understands what the results of some of these actions are. So pretty cool stuff, very new technology. I'm really excited about how this isn't going to necessarily replace people, right? It's just going to really help them get quicker and better at their jobs because they're able to use these new capabilities in order to analyze their data. Okay, I hope that was interesting. Thanks for your time. Have a good day.